Mark Jones at the Welsh launch of the Rugby Direct. Mark, a big game for us coming up now against Leinster on Saturday. How well prepared are the boys ready for the European champions at home?
Well, I think we're about as well as we can be prepared in, having no sort of competitive build-up to this game. We've had some very good pre-season games which have allowed us to look at a lot of the younger talent and some of the new signings, but this will be the first real test of our first 15 as we see it at this stage. So I think we'll know a lot more about where we're at the end of the game, and hopefully we can make an assessment about where we need to improve and where we can get better on the back of what will hopefully be a victory and a good performance.
Just recap over the summer, really strong summer, obviously some tough games, one out in France and then some decent work out for the boys. What's the pre-season been like? Has it gone to plan and preparations gone well?
Yeah, I think it's always difficult to gauge where we're at in terms of how good the team is, how well prepared the team is, but I think we've got out of the France trip that you mentioned there in particular, everything that we needed to get out of it. We got the squad together, we got some heavy conditioning into them out there, and we got to run out at the end of it. I think with the Worcester game we were able to then select some more players who were back from injury and available to play from some of the summer tours, the under-20s in particular, and gave us an opportunity to look at those guys in our environment. And then finally last weekend against London Welsh we were able to play again a sort of combination of both those two previous games to give us an indication of where we're at, and I think for all intents and purposes we're roughly where we thought we would be by this stage, which is good.
And quite nice to have a home friendly leading into this fixture as well. Good crowd, got behind it for the game. In terms of the performance against London Welsh, obviously it was a strong physical battle up front. Good for the forwards to have that kind of work out ahead of Leinster as well.
Yeah, it is, definitely, and I think London Welsh came with a very dogged approach to the contact area and a very high line speed in their defensive setup, so it posed slightly different questions than perhaps Leinster would do. They're very much an up and out team defensively, although they are very physical at the contact area, so that was a great workout for us in terms of our mindset in that contact area, and that'll have a big say in the match this weekend. But again, it's so difficult to judge. It's only one game. Leinster obviously had their pre-season games, and they'll be very much like us. They'll be looking to use this game to see where they're at in terms of whether they think they're where they need to be at this stage.
A bit of edge of the seat action at the end with that try in the very last few minutes that kept us on on the edge of our seats. But good to see the players. I mean, they were really getting into it. They're getting into the stride at the end as well. It must have been for you as a coaching group. It must have been really positive to see that kind of character at the end of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that above all, we, as coaches, that's perhaps the one thing we can't put into the players is that will to win. We can drive it as much as we want to in the week, and we can potentially simulate it in training, but when you're in a competitive environment, the individual has to have that competitive edge about them, and there's no doubt they didn't want to lose that game at home in front of, like you say, a very good crowd, and they were determined not to have our first home game of the season spoilt. And I thought the composure and the skill level, particularly for that last try in particular, was excellent. And it was nice to see some of those international players coming back into it, play their part. And the big thing for me was after the try was scored, every player that was on the field was celebrating with Scott, and just showed the type of unity that we tried to build over the off-season, really. So it's a start of a long road, but it's nice to do it on a win at home, like you say, and confidence is high now going into the Leinster game.
Going into the Leinster game, obviously then we've got some tough games, 2 away, but then another massive fixture, fourth round against the Ospreys at home. We're here today, we're launching the double headers that we're going to appear at Easter, which is obviously a great initiative really now for the regions to be playing back to back. How important are the derbies? How, I mean, for crowds and supporters, brilliant, but for the players as well?
Yeah, they are the sort of the highlight, really, if you like, of the season in terms of playing against your competitors that are vying for that Welsh jersey as well. So it's your opportunity perhaps to go head to head with somebody in a similar position and really make a statement in front of your home supporters and the home nation about your type of form that you're in. And with it being a double header, you get the advantage of seeing 2 matches of it, obviously, and I think the atmosphere in here will be bouncing come March. I think it's March the 30th, and I hopefully it'll become an annual event, which may even grow over time. So we put a huge focus on it as the Scarlets in terms of those local derbies, and I know the Ospreys see us as their ultimate enemy. Only 8 to 10 miles up the road. So I think with them having them 4th up in the season, it'll set itself up nicely then for the double header in March.
And a lot of our players returning, so it should be in terms of some of the players that are going to be on the field that day. Fantastic fixture for both sets of supporters.
Yeah, I think in terms of our selection, we should have every player available that to pick from as long as they're fit. So I presume the Ospreys will be in a similar position. So anybody that's looking to come and watch that game there's a fair chance you're going to see your household superstars on the field performing to a great level. And if last year's games were anything to go by, then it'll be a pretty special occasion.
And finally, Mark, obviously moving into a sort of slightly new coaching setup now, Danny Wilson coming in, more responsibility for you, or are you still very much the tracksuit man on the field? I mean, has it sort of worked for you now?
No more responsibility in terms of my time on the training field. I'm doing as I have done for the last 2 seasons. So, obviously, I've got a different job title, but my job description is exactly the same. So I'm just looking to keep working hard with the guys on the attacking structure of the team and the back lines, skills element, but just their overall coaching skill element, working with the other coaches on their areas of the game. We cross over so much in terms of the coaching group, which I think is great. I think Danny's got good views on the contact area and the set piece, and I like to get involved in the backline defence as well as the attack. So I think it's a good working relationship at the moment, and Danny's only added to that. Simon and I get on particularly well off the field, and I think we've got a good challenging relationship on it. We're not afraid to question each other in our own areas, and I think it drives the best out of us. It's certainly not a comfort zone, and I think it's moving us on all the time as coaches to improve.
It's certainly obviously seen from how things are being moved forward. Simon's been talking a lot about we're not in development phase anymore. This is about getting results. We've just fallen short very narrowly in terms of a playoff place in the league 2 years in a row. This really is the season for the Scarlets. Yes, there's pressure, but there's there's a lot there for you to work with as well, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. When Nigel came back a few seasons ago, it was very much about development. Then we let a lot of overseas and Asian players go, and we filled those voids with young up and coming talent. So it was about supporting that talent and bringing them through. Now I think we're at the stage now where we need some payback from that, and perhaps it is a bit of a bold statement to say that we want to win something, but if we don't have a mentality to win anything, we never will. So we hang our hat on it. We're saying we want to put ourselves out there and be accountable for winning and losing, and I think we're comfortable as coaches with that. And I think if the players realise that we have that expectation, then there's no ambiguity. They know that victory is something that we must strive for, and defeat's not an option.
Okay, great, Mark. Well, all the best on Saturday. Fantastic fixture to open up our season, and look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thanks very much.